Hi, I'm Maddie O'Grady. I'm a student fellow here at the National Disability Center. I'm also a graduate student at UT. I'm getting my PhD in educational psychology and then my master's in quantitative methods. And throughout my time in grad school, my work has sort of focused on a few different things, but I would say, how can we leverage motivation theories to help all students on their academic journeys? And so I really love the work that I'm able to do at the center.
Great. And I'm Maura Borrego. So I'm a professor who sits mostly in engineering and mechanical engineering, but also in STEM education. So I'm a faculty cadre member at the National Disability Center. And besides being assigned as Maddie's mentor, I have been getting involved in um, different projects where they need feedback on faculty, like piloting faculty surveys and giving advice on that stuff. And one of my research passions is literature synthesis. So I think I've been kind of advising on completely separate projects. And then when I talk to Maddie about her work, we get to talk about her projects, and I get sucked into those too. So I get to talk about lots of different projects that are going on with the center.
Yeah, so I guess how I joined the center was, I think it was February of 2024. So it's been like, I guess around a year and a half or so. I joined the center, and even before I officially joined the center, I felt like I was always kind of wanting to join because Dr. Cawthon, who's the amazing director, is a professor in my department. And so I would sort of hear from her the work that she was doing, and then from the other student fellows who are my colleagues and fellow students. I would always sort of hear about it and just was really inspired by all of them and the work that they were doing. And in undergrad, I minored in special education, and my brother has autism, and I've always been just very sort of engulfed in the disability space. And so this felt like a really natural progression for me to start working more professionally and doing like the really high quality research that the center does. So it's been, I mean, the center itself has been such an amazing space for me. And then a huge part of the center is the mentorship pairing. And so the mentorship pairing has been so great because I mean it's mentorship is so integral to grad school, which I wasn't really aware of when I started grad school. But having just mentors that can help you with not only your research, but also your personal life and give you advice on how to handle everything that goes into grad school has been, I mean, just invaluable to me. And I know that you're super passionate about mentorship as well. So it's been perfect.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I also was, really attracted to the center just from Stephanie and the amazing work that she's doing. So it wasn't even necessarily supposed to be part of the conversation, but I was doing a grant for like mid-career researchers to move into new areas, and I wanted to move into disability research, and I found Stephanie and asked her to be my mentor on that project, and that's kind of how we got connected. But she, wrote back immediately and was like, we're doing this center and I need people for the faculty cadre. So do you want to do that too? And I said, sure. So yeah, I love not just the work that the center does, but just the vibe that we all have with all the projects and how everyone's being engaged and being mentored. And so, obviously I get to hang out with you and watch your grad school journey unfold and all of those amazing things, but also just seeing lots of different models of mentorship and how to build a good community, all of those things. So
Yeah, I agree. The center has such a sense of community. Like even the faculty cadre that, I haven't been like assigned to or I haven't even worked with specifically, I feel like I could always reach out to them if I had any question or concern or anything. Everyone is so welcoming and just really passionate about the work that they do too. And you can really feel that when we're all together.
Yeah.
Um,
It lowers the barrier a lot. Like we work at a big university that's pretty siloed of people in their own programs and their own departments. And a lot of times you're keeping your head down and just paying attention to what's happening in that space. And so I like how a lot of the center events and then, when I hang out with you, we just sort of get outside of that and realize that there's other things going on and there's other ways that people think about things and people who are outside your unit that are willing to talk and willing to help. And I love all of that.
yeah, me too. Um, so I guess talking about like how the mentorship model works, um, what like for us, what how I feel like our mentorship model works is I know that you're always there to look at and talk through any sort of paper or research idea. I mean, you looked over my most recent AERA proposal and gave such useful feedback. And, we're starting to work on a new project together coming up with Stephanie and some other members of the center. And, but even beyond like our work, something that I find really valuable is the professional development side of it, as well as just the sort of friendship side of it as well. Like it's great to have somebody who's a mentor that I trust fully to give me amazing feedback and really care about the work that I'm doing, but also care about where I'm at as a person in graduate school because graduate school can be really difficult. So having somebody that I know is, one of the first questions I think you always ask me when we meet is just like, how are you doing? How are you doing? What's going on in your life? And I just find that really, really valuable in a space where it could be so easy to just talk about work.
Yeah. It took me a while. I feel like I had my advisor hat on at first and was like, what are you working on and when's the deadline? And, what do you want feedback on? But yeah, as our relationship has evolved and progressed, I've realized like just how important it is to just have people to talk to that are outside your department. Not that there's like a ton of drama happening, but just a bigger perspective on what is happening or why it's happening. And there's been a lot of changes in universities and different rules going into effect and all kinds of things. And we've been able to sort of like process how we're feeling with that without the context of, like I can just listen to you without like disagreeing because I don't really know the people that are involved and say, oh, I have an opinion or I don't think that's why they're doing it or, or any of that. Like I can just listen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like the relationship side of it has been really great. And like you said, to be out of department, like, because I mean, most of my colleagues and professors that I work with, we're also focused on the same projects and the same ideas. And so it's great to kind of take a step back and realize there are so many other departments and other perspectives here on campus that, I mean, we never would have met if it wasn't for the center. So I think that that is so cool and such an important part of the center that I really love. So I guess talking about like research and specific things that we've done, last year at AERA, which is a conference, I
That's
was
very
able,
important in your field.
yes, it's a conference that is very important in our field. I've gone twice now, and hopefully I'll get to go for a third time. But me and two other student fellows got to present at AERA last year and talking about a recent project of the center. And after that, there's a big group of us from the center that all went and like we went to a happy hour, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And knowing that everybody at the center is not only so kind and so approachable, but also so expert in their field, having them look at our work before we submit it to the conference and knowing that we're having, just like I said, experts review our work before we send it out there, I think has been such an amazing experience for me. And so AERA last year and this year, I had, you looked at my proposal for this year, and so did Stephanie. And, I just think that that has been something that I've really tried to not take for granted is that I'm having all these amazing faculty members from different departments look at my work before it goes out, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it really helps the quality of the work. Some people have disciplinary expertise to notice things in your research, and so it's really tight for your field, but then there's also a huge diversity of people that are, just have been working at universities for a long time and working with students and are looking at it with that perspective. Because I think we really want the work to be relevant across lots of different disciplines, helping college students, no matter where they are, at what institution and what discipline they're in.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's something what I find so interesting when we have our conversations is because you're in such a STEM focused field, and a lot of the students that I work with are more so education students, and it's a totally different environment. And sort of getting to hear about the nuances of our different contexts and what it's like to be a disabled student or work with disabled students in those contexts, I find that so important and so interesting. And so the center has been really great for that is, the people that we're sampling from and the students directly that we're hearing from come from a variety of different universities. They're not just coming from UT. And I have learned so much from the center and from the work that we're doing, which is, I mean, that's exactly what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's one of these experiences that's going to stick with both of us for, really forever. Like, remember that time when we were in the center and everybody got to hang out and do really, really good work with really exciting people and also just be friends.
I know. I feel the same way. We have when we have our all hands meetings, and especially when we're all in the same room and we can really just talk to one another and be in the same space because we're all so busy. It's such a valuable and fun experience. It's like we're joking around, we'll talk before and after, and everyone is just, I don't know, it's something about I think the people that are drawn to this work is just people that are just so caring and people that I love to be around and have really made a difference in my graduate student experience. Now I can't even imagine like not being in the center as part of my time. So I'm so happy. Even when I graduate, I feel like I'm still gonna want to be like poking my head around
Can
and
I come back?
yeah, still definitely I'm absolutely bare minimum keeping in touch with everybody after, but I'm gonna try and stick around as much as I can. Um, okay, what lessons have we learned from each other? That's the one that I'm on.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I've learned a lot from you about the experience of being in research and the experience of being a graduate student. Like you've given me a big picture sort of perspective on what I'm doing and why this is all worthwhile and why this work is important and honestly give me motivation to like keep going in graduate school because as I've said a few times, it's really hard. And
Yeah.
so it's been really nice to have somebody that I know believes in me and believes that like I'm in the right space. And that's the same way I feel about like Dr. Cawthon. And when I just feel an overwhelming sense of like, okay, I can do this. I'm in the right spot when I'm with you and when I'm with the other center people. And so I feel like that alongside with just, the more technical research-based skills that I feel like you've shared with me that have been very helpful.
I think, what I get out of my relationship with you is just like a different perspective on graduate education, which might it might sound kind of funny because I've been researching grad students for a really long time. We do interviews. I feel like I'm up on what the research says about graduate school, and I'm sure I use that in a lot of the conversations with you. Like a lot of people have a hard time in grad school. It's really hard to make it all wonderful all the time and not inherently difficult at some points. Um, and with my own students, I try to be open, but I'm sure that there's things that they're holding back because I'm their advisor and there's some, big power
Mhm.
differences there. But with you, it's a little bit easier to talk about things and talk about how things are impacting you and just sort of like, again, you're a whole person who has lots of things that are impacting your research. You're not just a robot who's here to do research for the rest of us and then leave after a couple of years.
Yeah. And what's so great about this center and like this mentorship is we have sort of like deadlines, or deadlines isn't the right word, but times when we're supposed to meet. So there's like an expectation that you and I are going to be meeting however many times over the semester, or AERA is coming up, so I know like Maura's going to look at my draft and things of that nature. It's nice that there's that sort of expectation, and that model is so inherent to the center. It's so built in that I really enjoy that because we're both just so busy and we don't see each other. Like we don't run into each other in the same building because we work across
That's
campus.
right. We're on the far end of campus from each other.
So it's like we really have to take time out. And there's something really refreshing about that, almost like something that when we finally get together, it's like, "Oh, okay, now we can just talk about things that I know we're both passionate about." And so I really appreciate that part of the center and of being a student fellow.